Hey guys, Sheila with Seeds to Trees here. So, I have a different kind of word today. It came this morning like a download, and I'm going to try in obedience to do what he's given me to do. So here goes. A little background. There's been an urgency building in me for years now. Years of things that he has been showing me and telling me, and that like we're coming. Things were coming. And some of it has been to build me. Some of it has been to see things in a zoomed out kind of way, like the church as a whole, believers as a whole, all kinds of things. So much of that I keep to myself or share with the ones very close to me that I know get it, because not everybody gets it. And none of us want to look like a loon running around here being called flake. But here we go. Here we go. I'm going to do the best I can with what I've got here. I had to come in from my walk this morning when I was just praying over this, and I was getting more and more of this, and just sit down and just start typing. So what I titled this, just to save it, was Shaking and Breaking of the Church in 2024. Lord, I just ask you right now to give me the word, give me the words, the voice, the word that you gave me this morning for this video. Lord, I pray that you would just speak it out as you gave it to me. Help it be none of me, all of you, for those that will be watching. Lord, you know who it is that is supposed to be watching this and what they are supposed to hear, a confirming word, a challenging word, whatever it is, Lord. You are the one in control of it after I put it out here, and I pray for your will to be done. In Jesus' name. This urgency has been building because I know there's something coming. I've known that since 2017. The end of 2019, it was stronger than it had ever been. Fall of 2019, September, October, I just felt this strong desire to pray for the church, and that God would invade our church and break off the things that didn't need to be there. Shake us up to see as he sees, think as he thinks, do as he wants us to do as the church, not just continue to go through the motions of church and call it for him. Well, who knew what was coming? So this is not a new thing, but this was a new word for today. I want to ask you to think with me. Think through some things with me and see if you don't begin to see some things that I have been seeing. There is spiritual war going on like I have never seen or felt before in my lifetime. I pray for people. In that, I get a lot of people contacting me to pray with them, pray for them, pray over them, pray about this situation, that situation. And let me tell you, the warfare, the war that is going on right now in women of God, strong, faithful prayer warriors of God, it's an onslaught right now. It's very, very strong. So there is something, it's like everything has been pulled out. Let's go, let's go. I feel like Satan is on attack as he never has been before. But you know what? When he's on attack, there's something coming, and he knows it. He knows it. So in that, with that all being said, I want you to think about our vision. And when I say our, I am talking to believers. I am talking to the church of Jesus Christ right now. I'm talking to the church. I am not talking to the lost. I am talking to the church. Our vision has been blocked. Zooming out, our vision in American church today, I see it as blocked, like smoke and mirror games. You know, it's like smoke screen. He keeps the smoke and he does the mirrors around over here and here. so that what we see, we think we see this, when in reality, it's not that. It's a reflection of something else. So it keeps us diverted to this over here instead of what's really behind that mirror right there. That's what I feel we as the church are doing today, that we are being manipulated. We are being twisted, coerced, distracted, and discouraged in a way that we don't even know, because our vision is clouded. Our vision is, it's like that Claritin commercial where, you know, it's very cloudy and then all of a sudden it comes very clear and crisp. That's what I feel like God's people, so many as a whole big body, that's what we're doing today. We're clouded. Our vision is clouded. Think about this. All of that, the smoke screen, the mirrors, all the manipulation that's coming at us from all areas is straight from hell. It's from hell. And if we don't clear our vision, if we don't take the time to look for the mirrors and look for the smoke and where it's coming from to put it out, we will never even know that it exists. We will think that is reality. Think about it. God's been showing us signs for a long time. But I'm just going to go back 4 years. 4 years. What was 4 years ago? It was 2020. 2020 changed our world, our country, our towns, our souls forever. Everything changed in 2020, March of 2020. Things changed forever. But this is what I want you to, and I'm not getting into the debate about COVID, no COVID, all that good stuff, okay? What I want you to think about is this part of COVID. And I don't even know if I can say that word on here. 2020. We'll just say it like that. What happened in 2020, March of 2020, I'm just going to say it like this. The church closed down. The doors of the churches were closed. No one ever in America imagined that could happen. Never in the last 100, 150, 200 years did they ever think that America, that it would be possible to slam and close the doors of churches. But it happened. It happened. Before we even realized what was happening, it happened. So with that being said, yes, the doors closed. But what happened to the church when the doors closed? I want you to go deeper with me. I want you to go think a little deeper with me. What happened when the doors of the church closed in March 2020? I'm going to boil it down to two different paths, okay? Two different ways people reacted and things happened within the body of the church. Number one was the disciple. The disciples, guess what? They grew. That can't happen. How can you grow when the churches are closed? The disciple grew in ways they never knew they could, because they were given a gift of time. Isn't time what we all, believer, non-believer alike, male, female, it doesn't matter. All of us today are asking for more time. We don't have time to do all that matters. God gave us the gift of time. My work was never shut down, so I still had to continue to work, but everything else was. So I still had extra time. How could a disciple grow when the church is shut down? Because the disciple took more time with the Lord personally. They went heart to heart. They went one-on-one. They went into it with him personally because they had a relationship. So that relationship, when you're shut up in a house with someone, just say, there were people that were shut up in one place with just a few people for a long, long time. When you're in a place with one person, guess what? You're going to grow together. You're going to grow to know each other a whole lot more than you did before. I think that is what the disciples did. People that had really given everything to go follow Jesus, who had gone all in with him, who wanted to live according to his way, not just the world's way, the way that seems the easiest, looks the most appealing at the time. The disciple grew. The disciple grew in his relationship with the Lord, his individual time spent with God, in his word and in prayer. There was more time to devote to those things that so often get left last on our list, and then they just fall off because there's not enough time in the day. He gave us the gift of time. The disciples used that time wisely because they desired to be with him. Disciples, let me tell you this, disciples, we found a way to have church without the church doors being open. We found a way to have church by surrounding ourselves. Even if we couldn't meet publicly, we were talking, we were poloing, we were Zooming, we were doing whatever we could to get to the people that we knew were going to help build us up, who were going to sharpen us, who were going to speak life, who were going to make us better. We found a way. You know, it's always said, whatever you want to do, you find a way to do it. I think this came out in COVID like no other time, because it was very, very easy to say, it's COVID, I can't. And just move on and not think twice about it and enjoy the fact that we didn't have to do this or have to go there or all the places. Disciples grew because they knew how to eat the meat of the Word of God. They knew how to eat the meat. They were having steak dinners. They knew how to cut their steak. And even if they didn't, they were learning how to do it because they were sitting with him, dining from the table of the Word. Now, the other set of people that were absent because their church doors had closed, I'm going to call them just the churchgoer. Not saying that they weren't saved. They could be saved, very much saved, and going to heaven. They had relationships, but what if their relationships were more with the people at the church and the what you can give me consumer mentality of the church than the Jesus that we were supposed to be going to church for? It says maybe those in the church have relationships, but what if the relationships they had in the church were easily replaceable? You know, they may have found other ways to fill their time doing good deeds, humanitarian efforts, helping out here, doing this. They found things to replace what they used to assume was very necessary when they were doing church work. All of the good things that the church does are good things. But without Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit in us, doing the work, having the power, having the impact, It's just humanitarian efforts, like a whole lot of other places. So for just the churchgoer, or even just the saved, but not all about that, giving it all life. You know, why did they not grow? Did they grow? No. They withered. They starved to death. And they quickly, right before they starved to death, they found other things to fill those needs in a whole bunch of different ways. And some of those have yet to return to church. You know, as I was praying over this and putting it down, the verse about the seeds fell on the stony path. You know, one, the birds come and get it, and then the other one, it never could get deep enough to have roots. That's the people I'm talking about. The ones that can be anybody that has nothing to do with church attendance. You could have gone to church all of your life for 76 years, every service, and not have roots in Jesus, in relationship. You could have roots in that church and the church service, church work, that community, which is all good. But without the Jesus roots, it's not kingdom impact. And that's what the church is about. So they were hungry. They were starving. And what do people do when they're starving? They find something to fill their belly with. We had people finding things to fill their soul with. Alcoholism went up. Anxiety went up. Suicide rates went up. All of these things went up during the pandemic and the years following, even now. You know, it's fear. Fear took hold. Fear moved into our country and our world visibly. Fear took over. And it was swallowing people whole. And it was so sad to watch, because as I would pray about it, it's like, Lord, it's taking their life from them. This fear is taking every bit of joy and hope and life and courage. It's stealing it from these people. It's sucking it out of them. And it was a sad, sad thing to watch. Not to say that I didn't get afraid at times, because it's scary. We don't know what's going on. And I'm not even going to get into whether we were, you know, told things that weren't true. You had to really pray and have discernment about certain things in that time and every day. But this is what I'm talking about. Fear overtook the spirits of many because their eyes were focused on the wrong thing. Their eyes were seeing all the mirrors that were bouncing off of all of these things. Their eyes were smoked up with pure fear and death and loss and all of these things. Fear overtook many of the churchgoers because it took their eyes off of the one who can make sense of the chaos. If we don't keep our eyes fixed and focused on his face, you will be swept away. And that's in a pandemic or just life in general. When things hit us that are out of control, that we have no control over, what are we going to do? And is God big enough? Is God big enough? Even if the doors of the church were closed, was God big enough? Was God big enough to hold you, to bring you through, to make you stronger? And were we as believers and disciples, were we tuned in enough to hear his voice, to see things his way, when everything around us was saying red, he's saying yellow? Which one are you going to believe? Let me tell you, if you hear the voice of the Lord and he says yellow, you go yellow. You bet on yellow. I don't care what everyone else around here says. You bet on yellow, because he's winning. He's winning. You know, we have to think about numbers and popularity, big buildings, big shows, all of the big that we want today. We have to realize, even if it's called Christian, it may not have a thing to do with God. God may not be anywhere in that. And that is where discernment comes in. That is between you and him. Just going to leave that there. But let me tell you something. We are in a mess in America right now today. It is July 2nd, 2024. We're in a mess. We're in an election year. We are... the political realm is ridiculous. Our economy feels like the bottom is about to crumble out beneath us right now. There are people that don't know how they're going to live right now. We have a mental health crisis that in 2019, before COVID hit, get this, 2019, the stats were our suicide rate of 18 to 25-year-olds. That is our up-and-coming generation to help support our country. Highest rate of suicide since the Depression. The Depression had reason for suicide. They were starving. They were bankrupt. They had nothing. They were watching their children die. What is our... We're the most prosperous we have ever been in America. Right now, today, we are prosperous people. We have supposedly the best health care in the world. I doubt that, but we have, quote, the best mental health care in the world. We supposedly have the best economy system in the world and governmental system in the world. But here we are. So that goes to prove this is another sign. This is another sign. Are we seeing the signs? This is another sign. Are we still believing, hoping, putting everything we have into government, healthcare, another medicine, specialized surgery, all of this stuff? Are we still putting everything, all of our life, into the hands of those in the world to help us out of this mess? Or are we looking up and saying, Lord, help us? Like, seriously, Jesus, help us know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Where do I spend my money? What do I do about food? What do I do with my family? What about my children's education? All of these things, we need to be looking up at him and asking, how are we to do life today? Because this ain't working. This ain't working. So, I want to challenge you with this. Change is coming to the house of God. Change has to come to the house of God, in the house of God, and from the house of God. How does that happen? How do we do that? We're doing the best we know how to do. This is all we've known for 100, 150 years. We're doing the best we know to do. Why don't we just stop and look up and ask? He says it's that easy. There is so much going on that I think so many of us in the church are blind to, just flat out blind. And if we don't begin to take time to look up so that we can see what we need to see when we look around, we're going to be plummeted. We're going to be knocked down. We're going to be trampled on. It ain't going to be good. But I'm telling you right now, today is the day to prepare. Today. There is no wasted time in his presence. Let me tell you, I don't care what you have to give up. Sleep, Netflix, kids' ball game. Take time alone with him. Ask him to give you wisdom, give you discernment, give you his eyes, his ears, his heart, his thoughts, and your life will change. You will begin to see everything differently. I promise you. And that is where the power comes from. That is where kingdom impact comes from. That is where revival comes from. That is where awakening comes from. That is where our nation can turn back. That's where our churches will turn back to him. Our families will turn back to him. Our country, our things will change. We think of revival as a meeting. Let me tell you what revival is. Revival is you and me getting on our face, looking up, and asking him, fill me. Show me the way to walk with you. Show me what I do not know. Do in me what I think is impossible. You do it, Lord. I'm willing and I'm available. That is revival. Revival is an individual thing. Revival comes to an individual heart. But an awakening, a national revival, a national revival of the church comes together when those who have been revived in the quiet, secret space come together. They begin to testify. They begin to pray together. They begin to show and share the miracles that are going on. They begin to share God's heart and what he's showing them. And guess what? Fire breaks out. Fire breaks out. That's what I'm praying right now for my area, my heart, my church, my county, my area, my state, our country, and for it to flood over into Mexico and all of those surrounding places. That's what I'm praying. So if you're ready to join me, jump on board. All right. Love y'all. Bye.